I'm a bad motherfucker.
Okay, this is Russell Dobular filling in for the aforementioned Jimmy Dore, joined by Keaton and Kurt. All right, so this is a very, very upsetting story. They have just found a mass grave outside of a hospital that the IDF previously attacked.
Most moral army in the world.
Most moral army. Most moral
An
army.
Israeli court approved that, so you're being
Yeah, it was democratically
what are you, one of these
approved.
self-hating Jews?
They voted on it. Nearly 300 bodies found in mass grave at Gaza hospital, says Gaza Civil Defense. A mass grave with nearly 300 bodies has been uncovered at a hospital in the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis, Gaza Civil Defense workers said Monday, following the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the area earlier this month. Colonel Yaman Abu Salamane, director of civil defense in Khan Yunis, told CNN Monday that, quote, today 73 bodies were recovered in the courtyard at the Nasser Medical Complex, which brought the total number to 283. The Palestinians are the most pampered people on earth.
I'm going to tell you what Roger Ailes told me in that tent on the kibbutz. A hole's a hole.
Suleiman alleged that some of the bodies had been found with hands and feet tied, quote, and there were signs of field executions. We do not know if they were buried alive or executed. Most of the bodies are decomposed, unquote. CNN is unable to verify Suleiman's claims and cannot confirm the causes of death among the bodies being unearthed. Previously, a Khan Yunis civil defense spokesman and head of the search mission, Raad Sakar, told CNN that they are searching for the bodies of another 400 missing people after the Israeli military left on April 7th. A CNN stringer who visited the scene Sunday said people had buried the bodies of family members who had been killed in the grounds of the hospital in January as a temporary measure. When they returned after the Israeli withdrawal, they found the bodies had been exhumed, apparently because the IDF was using DNA testing to determine whether any of the hostages held in Gaza were among the dead. The bodies were then placed in at least one collective grave, the stringer said. One man at the scene told CNN that he was yet to find the body of his 21-year-old son, who was killed in January. Another man who said his brother Allah was also killed in January said, quote, I am here today looking for him. I have been coming here to the hospital for the last 2 weeks and trying to find him. Hopefully I will be able to find him. Pointing to a fallen palm tree, the man said his brother had been temporarily buried in that spot. Quote, I had buried him there on the side, but I can't find him. The Israelis have dug up the dead bodies and switched them. They took DNA tests and misplaced all the dead bodies. The man's mother said they had been searching for 2 weeks and had been unable to find his body. Another woman told CNN she had spent 10 days searching for the body of her daughter, who had been killed and buried in the hospital grounds late in January after a nearby residential building had been struck. She said the Israelis have dug out the dead bodies and they switched them. She and her uncle's wife were buried at the same hour. The mother added, we have found the body of her uncle's wife, but the rest we can't find them. Sakar told CNN Sunday that civil defense personnel had been searching for bodies at the medical complex for 3 days so far, and the operation was ongoing. Quote, we have information that there are 400 missing people, and we're continuing to search for the rest of the bodies. The IDF has said it has removed dozens of bodies from Gaza for DNA tests in Israel before returning the remains in containers. The area around the Nasser Medical Complex saw intense bombardment and combat in January and February. At the time, CNN reported on the burial of bodies in the hospital grounds because of a lack of safe access to cemeteries. I just want to say this is not the first time they have found mass graves with people's hands bound behind their backs. That has happened previously in areas that the IDF has moved out of.
I promise you a bunch of people approve of that shit. I promise you a bunch of America, good, they got to do what they got. The same as 9/11, oh, go bomb these people of the Stone Age. Fuel air, all that shit. White phosphorus, fuck them. That's how they feel.
Sure. Asal Rod tweeted this. We've now seen more than one mass grave at a hospital in Gaza. Yeah, I think that was Al-Shifa. I believe at Al-Shifa they found mass graves. At a hospital in Gaza, and the Biden administration says they have seen no evidence that Israel has violated international law. We live in a dystopian nightmare. This is Caitlin Johnston. To be clear, this is a completely different mass grave from a completely different hospital than the one we recently heard about at Al-Shifa. This is Max Blumenthal. Compare Western media's non-coverage of the wave of mass grave and massacre discoveries in Gaza to its coordinated blitz about Bucha, Ukraine, where mass graves containing the bodies of combatants and civilians, including those likely suspected of collaborating with Russia, were unearthed by Ukrainian officials escorted by a massive press gaggle. Foreign Policy magazine acknowledged this month that the PR blitz about mass graves in Bucha was a decisive factor in the UK-led campaign to sabotage negotiations between Russia and Ukraine throughout the spring of 2022. Now Western media is virtually silent about the discovery of mass graves surrounding hospitals, which Israel has raided and put out of service across Gaza. In its reluctance to cover Israeli atrocities, the press is serving the same goal it did with its publicity extravaganza around Bucha, extending the calamitous war of a U.S. client state. So this is what Noam Chomsky calls worthy and unworthy victims. The Ukrainians are worthy victims. The Palestinians are not. Nonetheless, it seems that this story is breaking out in a way that the Al-Shifa story really did not. As Caitlin pointed out, this is the second story about mass graves around hospitals. The first time, it was completely unreported. It seems like this one is getting more traction.
The toothpaste can't go back in the tube. Look, if I know anything about Israel now, Israel fucked up. The fact that I know anything about it and I even feel this strong, a thing that I wanted to know nothing about and didn't want to be dragged into that, okay? Because what do you get out of that for being on the side, whatever? So if I have to know what happened, now I got no choice but great, now I have to say the thing that's wrong. That's why people don't want to know.
Right.
But I do know. So that means they fucked up. They didn't put enough money into, what is it, Hasabra? What is that? Propaganda?
Hasabra, yeah.
They weren't putting money into that. They thought they had it so much.
In a Hasbara, right?
Hasbara, not Hasbara.
in a
little pita chip is great.
Yeah, that's right. I was Sabra is the hummus. Yeah, that's the hummus. Yeah.
Caton?
Well, no, I mean, this is a related story that I think we're going to get into later in the stream, but in this segment, I think it's worth bringing up as well that as this is happening, you have these spoiled brat pieces of garbage saying they feel unsafe on college campuses because there are students in tents protesting that this is happening. You pulled that article from CNN on the homepage of CNN was the fact that they had to cancel classes on Passover because the atmosphere was tense. Fuck you. How's that? Fuck you. I don't care how you feel. Don't
what are you in live combat?
Confuse that.
Right.
I don't support threatening people. I don't support violence against people. But this, we don't feel safe. First of all, this is the same tactic that the woke mob used to use against right-wingers who they wanted to drive off of the campus. They would say, we don't feel safe with this person speaking here, so they have to leave. They can't speak. And now you have the Barry Weisses.
Who I promise, just 1 second. These Jewish kids at Ivy League schools, 95% of them 10 minutes ago believed that speech was violence. and that speech was a proper pretext for shutting people down.
They trained for this their whole lives.
Go ahead, Kate.
Well, no. Now you have all these people talking about how unsafe they feel on campus because there are protests on the campus, right? You feel unsafe. Meanwhile, you have that picture you showed in the Max tweet, and there was videos of industrial equipment being used to move bodies in bags with hands tied behind their back. We have to hear about these people feel unsafe. Like I said, I don't support you being unsafe. I don't support violence. I don't support threats against anybody. But your emotional processing is your business. And that's you have to talk to your fucking shrink about it. I don't want to hear it. It's absurd. It's obscene. It's just, I mean, how is it even a conversation? How is it even a topic of debate whether or not, well, we have to get these kids off of the campus? The schools have to divest from genocide if they want the kids to feel good about going to school. And if you didn't want them feeling that way, well, maybe you shouldn't have taught them all this stuff about decolonization. Maybe because you never really meant it. You never really meant it. And now they understand that you never really meant it, and they're pissed off about it. Now you see kids on the University of Maryland campus saying we are starting a people's university, like an Occupy Wall Street version of the college, right? Now, they're not going to get the same piece of paper from the People's University, but I think one of the silver linings of this is that higher education has really been exposed for the complete sham that it is. We always knew it was an economic scam. You know, the kids take out all this money in debt that they'll never be able to pay back because the degree isn't worth what the fucking guidance counselor with the Tim McGraw calendar on the wall told you it was. Oh, she misled you when you were 17? Big surprise.
That's very
fucking
specific.
Bimbo in an office. Yeah, well, that's my guidance counselor. I knew college was a scam. No, because my guidance counselor had a Tim McGraw calendar
with those details.
In the wall,
you can get
and
sued.
that's how I knew. No, but this is God's honest truth. I'm not even joking. That's how I knew it was a scam. Because I'm like, this fucking bimbo is telling me to go to fucking UMass Amherst. Look what she's got on the wall. Look at the decor. You got a Tim McGraw calendar on the wall. I'm supposed to take life advice from you. I'm supposed to take out loans based on your fucking advice. You're nobody. You're nobody. Who the fuck are you to be given this? Anyway, that's a side note.
What did Tim McGraw do to you, Keaton?
It has been. He didn't do it. I'm sure he's a perfectly nice guy, but if you got a poster of him on your wall in your office, one thing for like a 16-year-old girl to have a poster of Tim McGraw in her bedroom. You're a 40-year-old woman. You got a Tim McGraw calendar in your office at a place of business. No, that's a red flag. And I was right. My instincts were right, even as a young man. I stand by that 100%. I don't take any of that back. But that's kind of not the point. I know you're fixated on that, and I suppose I don't blame you.
Okay, wait, Keith, my advisor had a poster of Blue World Order from ECW Wrestling on his wall because he was in ECW Wrestling. How would you rank that advice?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
You're a sucker for Tim McGraw.
Yeah. Well, look, we always knew it was an economic scam, but now we know it's an ideological scam as well. That what they teach you, the whole ethos of it is a giant scam, and people are finding that out, and I think that's good. That's one of the very, very few silver linings of this whole thing.
All right, Misha, to you.
Okay. things make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate shitty coffee? I, for one, really hate shitty coffee, which is why I'm excited to introduce to you a company that's revolting against shitty coffee, and it's called the 1775 Coffee Company. Now, I haven't had it yet because I only drink decaf. Steph has had it. Steph, how do you like it?
I really like it. You know what? I have a French press, and so I've been using my French press and totally enjoying it. It's delicious. It's smooth. It's smooth.
So 1775, the world awakened to a new era. And now it's 1775 Coffee Company is bringing you a coffee that embodies that revolutionary spirit. Crafted with passion and precision, our beans are ethically and exclusively sourced from the finest coffee beans farms of Bolivia. Didn't know that. 1775 Coffee Company's farm-to-cup journey ensures the highest quality of authenticity and sustainability from start to finish. With each sip, your palate will recognize and appreciate the dedication and passion that goes into crafting this single-sourced brew. 1775 Coffee Company takes pride in offering customers a truly exceptional coffee experience with their premium coffee collection. But their dedication to this revolution extends beyond the realm of taste. Safeguarding freedom of speech is critical right now, which is why 1775 Coffee Company has joined forces with Rumble in defense of one of our most fundamental rights, freedom of speech. Coffee that's sure to awaken all your senses, including the sense of freedom. So choose 1775 Coffee by going to 1775coffee.com/litter. That's LITTER, and use the code LITTER for 10% off the checkout on your first order. 1775 Coffee, brewed to perfection, crafted with revolution.